let's start streaming. And I guess I might be live. Let me check. Yes, so I am live right now, and the video quality is not that good, but I can manage with it. So anyways, I was at this location where we were trying to understand that we made, I think, app bar in the previous example. If not, um, let me just remove every single thing. So we were actually basically in the about dialog class, and we were trying to understand about the show about dialog. And the show about dialog is another function which is located inside the about.dart file. In this file, you go over here in the about.dart file. Where is it? The about.dart file, the show about dialog box function is present. Now it is a standalone function. That means it can take the various application, the dialog box name, version, and the icon, etc., into the function, and then display the dialog box over here. Now I wanted to make sure that I first created an app bar without a scaffold. That means in the material app, in the complete body of the app, I'm creating a app bar with the name my app, text my app. Its elevation is 10, which doesn't really which you cannot really see over here because I'm not using any scaffold in the body, so that you can see any shadow underneath the app bar. Anyways, I'm using the colors amber, which is the color of yellow. Then I'm using an action parameter, which actually takes a series of buttons in a straight line like this. So I'm using the access alarm button, and on pressing of this icon button, it should show the show about dialog box, which takes the context parameter as context. So I click on it. Nothing really happens. As you can see, it shows an error like no material localizations found. Now I googled a lot about it, and I found out that the reason for this is because of something dealing with context, something with build context. I don't really know what build context is, so we will learn what build context is in this video. I hope so. So let's go. What is a build context? First of all, a handle for the location of widget in the widget tree. The class presents a set of methods that can be used from stateless widget build method and from methods and state objects. Okay, it's complicated. Let's see a video, I believe. Let's see this video. I hope it will help us understand something.
Hello and welcome to the Complete Python 3 Bootcamp. This fully updated course is the most...
Welcome everyone to another episode for Deconstruction Friday. And this week we are going to continue deconstructing something. The topic for this week is build context in Flutter. What is build context? What is it? And what do we do with it? And that's what we're going to be deconstructing next.
Okay.
Alright, hello folks, and welcome to one more video where I'm going to be deconstructing a few things for you here. Now, you've been seeing a lot of build context along the courses all over Flutter, and it's one of those things that I have touched before, but I felt like it's important for me to re-explain or maybe dissect or maybe deconstruct a little bit further for you to understand. Plus, this was one of the questions that I received. To understand what a build context is, we need to look at this piece of code here, which you've seen many, many times. In fact, this code, if you've been following us, is from previous video. Okay, so it's very simple. We're returning a scaffold, which we pass the app bar object there to create our app bar, which we pass the text and so forth. We have color. And our body here, we actually call another widget we created, called person. We pass all the parameters. Notice those are named parameters to follow how Flutter code is written. Pretty neat. So this build function here is a type of widget which is required because we're returning a widget. We've established that. And usually this build function is override or overridden when we are creating a widget, right? Anything that extends or inherits from stateless or stateful widget, we are required to override a build method, which is a type widget. And obviously, every time we have to pass a build context. Now, let's understand this again, build context, what it is. Well, build context really answers two main questions, right? And when I say that, I'm talking about as things are happening in our application, there are two questions, main questions that has to be answered when we talk about build context, when we pass that build context around. Well, first one.
Okay, first of all, it says that we need to interact with the parent widget. So the parent widget in my program, I believe, is Material app, as you can see over here. So the build context interacts with the Material app, as the video is saying. And furthermore, once rendered on the screen, it gets the screen size and everything else. So when we are rendering the complete Material app, the build context, which means this object can get the screen size and everything else according to the video. So let's move on forward.
Is what is the deal with the interactivity or the interaction of this widget that we are building now with the parent widget? And we'll explain in a second here. And the second question, which is not very common really to talk about, is that the build context allows us to also get the screen size and a lot of other information about the widget, present widget, but also mainly about the parent widget or parent container. So our application will look like this. When we create our canvas, our app, it's usually a blank screen as that. So we've seen that many times. And we then create, again, use the widget builder there, build method. And of course, we pass the build context there to create, for instance, let's say widget A. Could be anything, okay? And the same thing, using the previous example, we do when we call, for instance, this build here, we expect to have something like this. Already shown. We established that before also. Okay, so that's what's happening. And all the while, the build context is being passed around. Why? Because it has all the information on how things are indeed laid out on our screen. That's why build context is very important. Because again, it has to answer before we put anything on the screen. It has to know, okay, where am I going in relation to my parent? In this case, Paulo Dishon, whose is his parent? Assuming that there's nothing around Paulo Dishon, maybe the parent's going to be center, right? And the parent of center would be Scaffold or maybe another container, doesn't matter. But it has to know exactly what is it or where is this widget located and other widgets around. And to know all that information, we need to pass a build context. So in summary, the build context knows exactly the context in which these widgets are in. That's it. Why? Because all the widgets that are being constructed, they need to know exactly who is the parent, where is the parent, how am I going to fit in within the constraints that I was given. In this case, there could be other widgets and so forth. Okay, so that's why build context is very important. And you may have seen build context in not only in the build method, but also, if you remember, in the list view, that builder, in so many other widgets that have that build or builder method, you'll notice we have to pass the context. Now you know why. So if you, graphically speaking, if we put together, for instance, the layout of an application, this is what we would have, right? We're going to have my app at the top. You've seen that class. And then we have material app, which we then pass my home page. Then we have the scaffold. And then inside of scaffold, we have app bar. And then inside of app bar, we have text and so forth. So the idea here is that at each level, if we look at all these colors, okay, all of these are indeed the context. So in this case, for instance, if we go down, we see the column. In fact, inside of the scaffold, right, we have that bluish color. That means that's the parent context, which knows all about the scaffold. So when we want to add an app bar, we are adding another. We have to pass, in this case, some sort of a different context within it. So app bar is added, right? So it's inside of a scaffold, which is inside of my home page, which is inside the material app. Okay? Inside of app bar, we have this text, which of course, when we create that ourselves, it will have its own context. right? Because it has to know exactly, okay, where do I stand within this realm of other widgets or parent widget, or in this case, just a container. Same thing, you see center there. It has its own widgets column, and within the column we have two texts. So that's how context work. Because as we are constructing these widgets within other widgets, which are within certain parameters, which means a container, really, it needs to know exactly where am I supposed to be and all the information that it needs so that it can fit in within. Okay? That's it. That's what a build context in a nutshell is. And so,
Understood. So build context, according to this person, is like um, the know to everything, means it knows about all the widgets that we are using, and it also uh, helps to identify the size of the screen and the location of the widgets laid out on the screen. But the problem that I am facing over here is that in the show about dialog that needs to be opened up as soon as I press on this icon button, it shows that no material localizations found. Now, according to me, the material localization actually is the build context. Now, in this scenario, I am passing the build context, the parent build context. What might be the error? So I looked around in Stack Overflow, show about dialog, no material localizations found. I found out this kind of question already existing in Stack Overflow, and it states something like, I wrote this code by taking the reference of this video. What video?
Hi, have you
I hate ads, absolutely hate ads, absolutely hate ads, and therefore it must be somewhere. So raise button and alert dialog by Smarthead. Okay. Right. So using this video to make alert dialog. In my case, I'm using a show about dialog, same thing. So I'm running the application on a live Android phone using the ADB Connect. Please help. The code is this. And this is the code that I wrote. I also tried inserting the contents of test alert function directly on page. Doesn't really work. This is because the context we are passing into the show dialog method is a context that does not have material localizations widget in the widget tree. The material localizations widget gets added implicitly by the material app widget. Whoa! What is a material localization widget? Material localization widget. Material localizations class. Let's see what it is. Now defines the localized resource values by the material widgets. A so I'm not really sure what this class actually does, but it is. But the person is saying build method should return material app, not scaffold. Okay. Within your home material, you can have scaffold. In my case, it is returning material app only. It is not returning scaffold. It is saying that is because the context we're passing in the whole dialog method is the context that doesn't it have material localization. So over here, he is passing context, show dialog context. This context, if you look closely, this piece of code, I guess this ends over here. That means the widget ends over here, and the widget ends over here. Then this is another function in the class, and this context is what this context is the build context that is being passed by this test alert function when pressed. So on pressing the key, the test alert function will go over here passing the context, and then an alert dialog will be generated with the text title as text and content as done, and then it will just show the dialog with the context. Okay, but and this person is saying this thing is okay, this thing is also okay. Then what he did was over here is he returned material app and home as scaffold. He just completely removed this part and he wrote a new class test page within which he is now returning scaffold. So as if we're saying this not so it's if it is nothing has been changed in the program. I'm confused because even if we did pass scaffold in the home parameter, what would be the problem for it to say no material localization was found? So anyway, let's go along with this. So in this case, we are gonna just create another class over here. State class, y class, then stateless widget, and return app bar. Return app bar, and it's saying sync concrete implementation. Oh, sorry. So widget build context. Okay, and I'm gonna just copy every single thing till the to here. I'll go over here and paste it. Okay, so and remove every single thing till bar, and just gonna say class as an object passing over here. Video not found. Go to the analysis of the analysis. Expected to find closing parenthesis. Line 33. Line 33. This is this. Oh, I forgot to add another. Now I have. Now there are no errors. Let me run the program now. And now it works. I didn't really change anything. I just copied the code in another class. I don't. It's kind of weird. I will try to debug. I'll try to understand what really went wrong in the program because it doesn't really sound that good to me. When this thing no material localization happens in the program, there is something wrong with the context, and in that case, we might need to use another class because when we're returning app bar or a scaffold back to the home parameter, then something really goes on behind the scenes. I'm not really sure. I will try to reread the Stack Overflow answer in my next video. Right now, I have a really important task that I need to do. So I have to close this video over here, and I will be soon back with another video where we will try to discuss more and try to explain and understand how Flutter really works and try to face problems that every programmer really faces while developing applications. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you again very soon.